Okay, so I have one other thing I want to share. This happened Saturday morning. Basically, Friday night I had a dream, and in my dream I dreamed of Sean Bowles, which he is in the prophetic ministry. I've mentioned him before in some of my other videos, but he gets incredible words of knowledge. He has such a gift from God for that. And anyway, in my dream, Sean Bowles was talking to me, and he told me the words. This is what he said: "It's a matter of the heart." And I woke up, and I don't remember anything else that he told me other than it's a matter of the heart. And so I was just laying in bed Saturday morning thinking about that, how in my dream Sean Bowles told me that, and I was like, how weird was that I dreamed of him and that's what he told me, and I was just praying to God about it and just saying, God, give me your heart, give me your love for others, because the gifts that we desire from God, especially gifts, prophetic gifts, it's really, really neat, especially when God uses you, when he tells you something that you would only know because it's God, and when you can relay that information to a person and reveal God's love to them, it's just such an incredible thing. But the important thing to note is it's a matter of the heart. It's a matter of of you sharing God's love with that person, and that's where it all begins and ends, is just revealing God's love. And so anyway, I dreamed that Friday night, woke up thinking about it Saturday morning, and just praying before I even got out of bed, God, just give me your heart, give me your love for others. And so anyway, I was making coffee Saturday morning, and I was still thinking about it, and I was just thinking, I have a book by Sean Bowles that I ordered a few months ago, and I'm really bad about ordering books, starting them, and then ordering another book before I've even gotten halfway into a book I'm in. So at any given time, I'm I have all these books that I've started and none that I've finished. And Sean Bowles' book was one of those that I don't have a whole lot of time to read, with working and having my kids, and I wish I had more time. But I started his book back in January, and I never finished it. And so I thought, as I was making coffee that morning, that maybe the Holy Spirit was prompting me to get back into that book. And so I went and found it in my prayer closet. It was stacked up between some a bunch of other books that I had that I'm halfway into. And so anyway, this is the book, Translating God, and I had a bookmark in it. And so I just opened in my bookmark where I had left off, and this was probably from January, so a few months back. And when I opened to my bookmark, this was the page that I was on. It was chapter 4, and it says, "The prophetic is first a culture of the heart." And I read that, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I dreamed of Sean Bowles and him telling me it's a matter of the heart. And so that prompted me to get back into his book, and then that's where my bookmark, that's where I had left off, back in January. That the prophetic is first a culture of the heart. And I just started crying when I saw that, because I was like, this is so from God. He so led me directly to this. It is his will that I'm even reading this. Because not a lot of, I don't have a whole lot of friends, to talk to about this kind of stuff, and I just don't it's all just so new to me. It's very new to me, and I have a lot of friends that are interested in it, but it's new to them too. And so it's I feel the Holy Spirit is teaching me, and the Holy Spirit is leading me and directing me, in growing in these gifts, that I've gotten just a little bit of like a taste for, but I have such a hunger for more. And so anyway, like, just to think like that in my dream, Sean Bowles was telling me it's a matter of the heart, and then the book was marked saying the prophetic dispersed culture of the heart, which is really, really cool. And it was just like, I knew that the Spirit was leading me straight to that. And so like, I just started crying when I saw that, and I couldn't even read because I was just kind of overwhelmed. And then finally when I came to and I was like able to read, he starts off the chapter with a quote, and you can see the quote right here. And the quote is by John G. Lake. When I saw that, I just started crying all over again because, I don't know if you know who John G. Lake is, but I'd heard about him, like, mentioned in sermons that I've listened to. Like, I listen to sermons all the time from a bunch of different preachers, and I've heard of John G. Lake, like, mentioned, and just on Friday, the day before that Saturday, like the day before I actually opened this page that Friday, I was going on a field trip with my son, and I had to drive like about an hour to get to the field trip by myself. And so I just, like, as I was driving, I was like, I wonder, what am I going to listen to today, and I thought, I'm going to look up John G. Lake. Like, that thought just came into my mind because I've heard about him, and I was curious about him, and you actually can't find any of his, like, him actually giving a sermon because he was from so far back. Like, he was a preacher, like, in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So there's actually, like, YouTube videos of like people reading his sermons. Like, they had to, like, just, it's his sermons, but other people are reading it because he was so far back, that there's not, like, video or anything like that of his sermons. It's so old. But so anyway, all day Friday, like, the whole time I was in my car, I was listening to John G. Lake. And what's really cool about him is there is over like 100,000 reported healings under his ministry. Like, just unbelievable, like, how God used him. Like, it would really be worth looking into, like, just, if you're interested in, like, the healing ministry, to see how God used that man. Just really awesome. And so anyway, I was listening to some of his stuff, and so anyway, I had the dream Friday night of Sean Bowles that very night, telling me it's a matter of the heart. And so when I opened to this, and it says the prophetic dispersed culture of the heart, and then the quote was by John G. Lake, who I happened to listen to the day before. Like, that's all I listened to the day before. The whole time I was in my car was John G. Lake. I mean, what are the odds? He's like, late 1800s preacher that I've never listened to before, and that's who the quote was from. And I just want to share the quote because I think it's awesome. It says, men have mystified and philosophized the gospel, but it is as simple as it can be. The secret of Christianity is in being. It is in being a possessor of the nature of Jesus Christ. That's John G. Lake. I just think that's awesome because it's just so true. Like, just possessing the nature of Christ. And it reminded me of the dream that I had that I shared in my last video of just having that confidence, in my dream when I was in that hospital, of just like, it's going to be okay because I have the power of Jesus. Like, how cool to really walk in that, and so that's such a goal of mine, just to have such an assurance of, like, it doesn't matter what kind of situation, like, I come upon, like, I have the power of Jesus in me. And I feel like John G. Lake really lived that out, and it's just really cool because in that quote, just saying that the secret of Christianity is in being. It is in being a possessor of the nature of Jesus Christ. So awesome. So anyway, and I just want to read a little bit just from like this first page that Sean Bowles wrote, just talking about how it says, follow the way of love and eagerly desire gifts of the Spirit, especially prophecy. And that's 1 Corinthians 14:1. In this chapter, Paul encourages the Corinthians to follow the way of love, or pursue love as the main goal, but also to eagerly desire spiritual gifts. And he highlights the gift of prophecy. The reason why is because prophecy can be one of the clearest validations of the Father's great love, which Jesus paid such a high price for. When people hear the thoughts and emotions of God toward them, they believe in his love for them. And I just think that's so cool, and it's all a matter of the heart. And you can't desire the gifts of the Spirit for any other reason, especially prophecy, other than it all begins with the heart and revealing the Father's heart, and just seeking him and knowing him in such an intimate way that he reveals his heart to you for others. I just think that that's incredible, and it's such a deep desire of mine. And so anyway, I just wanted to share because I thought that was super cool how that happened, how I dreamed that Friday night, and then just God led me right to this where I had my bookmark from like a few months ago. So that's it.